And hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. Alright, so today we will be looking around at SQL, or how some people like to call it SQL. We'll actually be focusing on MySQL or MySQL because, Delphi works on it. But it's basically the same thing, it's just SQL but improved. So anyways, we are going to focus on what MySQL teaches us. So you can follow along wherever you are if you have SQL installed or not. You can come here and just follow along. And I'm going to start off with doing it on here, but because I use Firefox, not everything will work. I recommend you use Google Chrome to do things on MySQL here at your examples. But I can't use Google Chrome because I use Arch Linux and just things get messed up if you try and install drivers and stuff sometimes. But yeah, so before we get to actually using SQL, what is SQL? Why do we need to learn it? Well, you remember how we worked with Delphi to modify the tables of the databases and stuff like that? Well, SQL is a way to basically mess around with databases with text, So with languages such as Delphi, where they give you the ability to modify the database with their code, you're still limited. You're very, very limited. But if you use SQL, you open up a whole new world, and it just makes modifying databases so much easier. So let's get started into actually using it. So if you go to MySQL and you select SQL, you can just find any example code and just say try it yourself. Once you've done that, it will open up a new tab, or if you have the same extension I have, it will redirect you. And then here is where we can insert the SQL. Now to run the SQL, you can just click run, and boom, it will execute everything. We'll get to what this says later on. But for right now, this is the database. This is a normal database. Here is the primary key. Also, if you don't know what databases are or how they work yet, feel free to go watch my video on those if you are just tuning in and didn't watch the Delphi course. And here is the customer names. All of these are strings. And of course, here you have more tables you can choose from inside of the database. So here, let's say we want to choose from the employees. As you can see, here is some employee details, shippers, here's shipping details, orders, and here's the order details. We're going to stay focused on customers. You don't need to use customers, but if you want to, that's up to you. So let's first explain. So what are we saying here? So we're saying this is a lot like the English language. You'll see there's a lot in the SQL tutorials to come. SQL is a lot like the English language, and I mean quite a lot. So this select star from customers means actually just select all from customers. So what we are saying is we're saying, hey, select everything from this table right here inside of the database. Star is just a word for all. It's a wildcard. I think that's what it's called. But it's basically just a thing that says all. In fact, if you don't want everything in here, you can actually just say something such as address. As you can see, here's an address. So if we say run SQL, then it's just going to return the address, just this column. But if we say star, then it's going to return everything, all of the columns. So we say select and what we want from and then the table we want. So in pseudocode it will be something like this: select column 1, column 2, column 3, how many columns you want, or you can just say star, but in this case we're going to use a column as an example, and then from and then table name. This is basically what we're saying. Just select star from table. So this is just select column. So we can actually select more than one column if we want. This selects everything. So everything in the database gets returned. And if we say something such as customer name and city, then this will return just the customer name and the city from the database. So Alfred's Futterkiste, whatever that is in the city of Berlin, or the city called Berlin. And yeah, so that's just the kind of the basics of select. Actually, select isn't that difficult because this select we're talking about is really small. And if you need to know more about this select statement though, then I'd recommend, or anything, because remember, we are going to follow the WeSchools course. I'm just kind of explaining to you in a different way than they are. So if you don't understand anything, just go to your course, select SQL, and then just go to wherever you think is strange. Then like here, for example, the select statement is used to select data from a database. Or let's say you don't understand enough about databases, you can actually go to like intro or something and be here like, what is SQL? SQL stands for Structured Query Language, lets you access and manipulate databases, and is a standard of the American National Standards Institute and whatnot. And you can now go to syntax if you don't quite understand it, and here we'll like explain to you how the syntax works of MySQL. And for example here, SQL keywords are not case sensitive. So what that means is, let's go here and we say, there's the example code, and we just redirect it because I don't want a new tab. What that basically means is, here, this capital select, like if we run this, we get the output, right? So we just turn this select into a lowercase select, and let's say we mess around with it like from, it's not going to affect how the output is, because capitalization, unless it's inside of quotation marks, inside of these, doesn't matter. So that doesn't matter. Also take note, each and every SQL statement has to end with a semicolon. If you don't put a semicolon on the end, it could cause errors. So yeah, that's the basics of select. If you didn't understand something or you're still struggling, feel free to comment in the comment section below and ask a question about it. Or if you have the time, go and check out WeSchools and just read up and see if they can teach you what I didn't teach correctly. Thank you for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and see you all.